All right, welcome back everybody to another episode of the Alternative Cycling Network, where we give you hot takes on all the latest cycling news. And I'm Russ, one of your co-hosts, and I'm joined by Eric from Spinnet and Michael from Locked In. So today's show is going to be kind of a gear wrap-up. There's been lots of interesting new releases, and I think we will kind of end on the new Campy gravel groups, a new Campy gravel group set, because that's kind of the biggest news for today. But as always, before we get going, let's do some channel updates. Eric, what's been going on your site?
Well, first of all, the reason we didn't do a live stream last week was my fault. So we've got 2 weeks of uploads to talk about. I did like 1 week. That was a bunch about fixed gears, and then I drove to my hometown to grab my old all-mountain bike from my brother. We've been like upgrading and changing that thing over to 650B from 26-inch wheels. And then we rode it, and then we rode it again, and then we rode it again, and I crashed it.
Yeah, your last video was pretty dramatic. There was some blood.
Yeah, there was blood involved, missing teeth. It's bad. It's bad. I look pretty good right now, but it's because I'm wearing clothes.
Yeah, it's that Canadian health insurance. It's just does wonders. Michael, what's been going on your site?
I've had a lot of videos out. So actually, I might have to pull an Eric and go back real quick. So let's see. It's been 2 weeks. I forget how we do this. So I had my Cobalt Warhawk review was put out. I had my gravel suspension Is It Worth It video, basically talking about all these pseudo suspensions coming out, and the products I use specifically were the Redshift shock stop seat post and stem. I had a Fix the Six T-Way review, a Ride Far Carbon gravel bar review, and then I did a live stream of my new build that probably realistically will come to fruition at the end of this year into next year, of my new bike steel custom build that'll essentially be like version 2 of the gravel build I did before, because gravel is completely different than when I built that bike. And it was it's ridiculous how that bike is essentially an all-road bike now. And then this week specifically, I did swapping wheel sets without adjustment. So how to shim and adjust your basically any wheel set, 650B or 700, center lock or 6-bolt. Video I did.
I have a question about that video, because you use these like super thin shims to kind of put in the same spot, but there were hydraulic brakes. Like, I thought the whole thing about hydraulic brakes is that they self-center. Was it just?
Well, so it's not this. It's not one. They should go back somewhat center of when you actuate them. The main thing with the shim is essentially to change the spacing of where the rotor sits. Okay. Because your different brands of hubs, again, 6-bolt or center lock, they do make shims for. Right. It's because unless you have the same hub and the same rotor, exactly the same model, brand, the whole bit, they're probably not going to line up 100%. Okay. So these shims are essentially like 0.2 of a millimeter, right, to just get it to where you can easily swap it. I did that video on like my gravel bike into road mode, and it did really well. So I was like, okay, well, I'll go over all the things I've done to make that happen as quick as possible so that it's just a seamless swap. Right. And that was like one thing I liked about the State Bike All Road, is because they sell you, again, both wheel sets, same cassette, same rotors, same hubs. Yeah. You shouldn't have to do it, but not everybody's going to have that. For sure.
How much do those shims cost? Are they cheap, or
$20 for an 8-pack?
That's not bad.
So according to you, I did get a comment about it, like, oh man, $20 is a little steep. I'm like, dude, it's like, what else? Like, I don't know, it's $20. Like,
why are you using a beer can?
Yeah, I know, right? Hey, trust me, I've
done a beer can.
Done that to shim a seat post in my life, and it was a Coors Light. Right. But anyways, yeah. So they aren't the cheapest. The center lock ones are more expensive and more finicky. Right. So I mentioned, like, always shim your 6-bolt rotors. It's way easier to get those than it is center locks. Less companies make those. Yeah. And then I did a live stream on my Poseidon Redwood unboxing. That went very well. That was super fun. Answered a ton of questions. Chat was very active. Yeah. And then as of today, I put out a review for a $60 1500 lumen front light with a rear LED light included. So it's been super good. They're running some crazy sale right now. And so if anybody's interested, go watch it, buy it. I think it's only going to be up for like 24 or 48 hours.
Right.
But it's super solid. I only did it because I told them like, I need to test this prior to your sale to like, if I like it or not. And, you know, cause I thought it'd be some other cheap Chinese, whatever, but super rugged. Really like it.
Cool. All right. Well, on Path Less Pedaled, what did we do? Today I launched a video. It was kind of a long-term review of the Catalyst pedal. If you're not familiar, they're like super big, like probably the longest flat pedal out there. And it's all about mid-foot pedaling rather than using the ball of your foot. Not for everyone and not for every bike, but pretty interesting. Last night, we did a live stream with Taylor from DT Swiss and unboxed some new gravel wheels. And I learned a ton of things about wheels in general, but also DT Swiss specifically. I think the coolest thing is that you can pretty much swap out all the parts without any tools. It's all kind of a touch and fit. So like the free hub, even like the ratcheting mechanism, like the wheel set I have has, I think 20 degree engagement, but then you can also swap in the ratchet to something tighter. Again, without
the 54 tooth one. Yeah,
which is pretty cool, especially if you're a mediocre mechanic like myself. What else is there? And I did another video on kind of 3 interesting bike tools. One was actually, you have it too, Michael, that original free range.
I put it on my my favorite like gravel road pump video. Yeah, so I had that on there. I love that thing. It is great.
It's so simple, but like just
it's one of those so dumb, but like because it's so simple, I should have thought of it. But it's great. Yeah.
So that one, and then a Rivendell tool with a rare earth magnet that only works in steel frames. And the last one was a laser leveler. Someone had mentioned it on our Discord group about using laser leveler to kind of adjust your bike fit, and it works pretty dang good. You know, it makes it really easy to measure the tip of the saddle to bottom bracket. I know, you know, you can do a plumb line, but you can also do it with lasers for $30.
Yeah,
so.
No, I'm probably gonna order one of those.
I mean, it's cool because it projects a line in the X and Y axes, and it levels. You can see it like work. It'll kind of shake and then settle. Yeah. But you can use it for making sure your hoods are in the same exactly the right height. You can check the angle of your saddle and everything. So lots of good uses. So let's see. All right. Let's move on to I guess the new. There weren't too many user or viewer submissions this time around, so we'll just jump into what's interesting and new in the bike world. What do you guys think of this one? This is like a $100 tool, currently in Kickstarters. 9 tools, 45 grams.
Yeah. It is light, but, and again, not to like, I mean, it's essentially just like a lighter weight fix-it stick. Like, and I have those and they're great. And it makes a T-handle when you use it, which is technically more versatile than this thing is going to be. Because instead of getting because you either have the lever arm or you have the short side. But I mean, it's the same kind of concept. Because obviously only 2 of those tools are going to go into that thing at once. Because you can't store any extra ones. Where the fix-it sticks that I have, you click it on both sides of the little carrier, and you have 4 tools. But granted, again, this thing is lighter weight. But I'm assuming you're gonna have to store the extra bits in your saddlebag or something because you can't carry that many.
It's got a weird kind of doohickey here.
Yeah.
So like a little carrying thing.
Yeah, but
I don't know. What do you think, Eric? Would you buy this for $100 US?
No, goodness gracious, no, never. Literally never, ever.
That's 1,000 Canadian. What are you talking about?
Yeah, like if it was given to me, I would lose it because it's minuscule and nothing. But also, I never carry anything with me. I'm very guilty of that all the time. So this would just be a really bad $100 paperweight because it would just blow away in the wind.
Right.
Eric, it's too heavy to stay on the bike. That's what it is.
All right. I mean, to some extent, you gotta love Kickstarter because it just brings to life all these kind of kooky ideas. So
yeah, there is definitely a place for it, and they do have some cool stuff on there sometimes. But yeah, it is definitely. It'll probably get funded though. It probably already is funded. If you want to go peek at that, I'm pretty sure it probably is.
So someone will buy this.
Oh yeah.
I would say lots of people will. But like, I picture myself bringing it on one ride, and every like 15 minutes having that like and like reaching in your jersey pocket moment, like, oh yeah, it's there. Okay,
Yeah.
Like, oh no, I just dropped $100 on the ground.
Yeah, exactly.
Gone. Like,
I lost a trail bale at my last on my DIY gravel ride I just did, like Grinduro ride, and like I was sad about that, and that thing was free. Like that, I got that at a trailhead, but I'd be super sad about this. I mean, for weight wise, like even my Specialized like super mini tool, it's actually up there. I mean, it's like 100 grams, and I thought that thing was like dumb light. But so I mean, it's probably already funded. I get it. Yeah, but
I mean, if I was spending this much money on a tool, granted, completely different style of tool, I'd probably get those. Have you seen those new Park Wrench T style?
Oh yeah.
They've got like the thing in case you ran out the bolt, you can jam it in there, and it also has a metal barrel so you can spin things really quickly. Yep. And on the long end, instead of the Bondus, it's just a regular hex, so a lot more useful, I think. Yep. So, anyways, now on Kickstarter, if you want to blow $70, it's there.
Well, you get the pre-order. Wait, is $100? Is that retail or is that the pre-order price? Because
let's see.
Kickstarter's
early bird pricing is gone. Price jumps to $77.
Okay, so that means it's probably going to be $150 retail.
That's true. If you want the mount, you're looking at $109 for the full package.
Well, click. We got time. Well, let's click on the Kickstarter. Let's see if it's funded.
Let's see what.
See if it goes to it.
Hopefully, it goes. Yeah. 26 days to go.
Wow, we were doing it wrong, man. $45,000 already. All right.
We should do this, guys. We should come up with some wacky ass tool and charge an exorbitant amount.
We can do like a titanium ACN branded like beer opener, like $150.
Right.
And we'll just call it a 3-number thing as well, but we'll just use like ACN and use the numbers that they are from the alphabet.
Alcohol. Alcohol for the A. C. It also a can opener for the C, and then N. I don't know what we would use for that.
Nitro brew.
There it is. Yeah, it's also it has the pour spout for when you want to do like a macchiato and you got to pour your espresso, and float it. Yeah, that'd be perfect.
There you go.
And everyone's just like, well, this is just a $200 can opener, and you're like,
oh yeah, but it's titanium. Yeah.
What do you want from me?
Well, 440 backers.
Right, and 26 days to go, man. These guys are going to break 100,000 for sure. Oh
yeah,
for sure.
That's the worst news I've heard.
This is so depressing.
This is us drinking to our sorrows for us working this hard on our channels collectively, and this motherfucker makes a lightweight tool.
You know what we should do? We should kickstart something that goes in the little tiny triangle.
Yeah.
For the Poseidon.
Like somebody told me the chain
that goes in.
Sean said that he's got a 3D printer and he will 3D print us a thing like we'll click together for both those. I gotta send him like measurements and a picture.
Right.
But it's 1.5 inch. It's 1.5 inch by 1.5.
It's like 30. Yeah, it's basically 30 mil.
1.5 wide.
Yeah. Steve's got it right here. Whatever we kickstart for the Poseidon, it's got.
It's titanium.
It's gotta be titanium.
Yeah, obviously.
That way it justifies exorbitant amount.
Yeah. Yes.
The most expensive triangular drub carrier of all time. That's what it would be. Oh, geez. Okay. Speaking of interesting products, there's this one, Redshift, sports a kitchen sink gravel handlebar. So this kind of combines that weird arrow thing that you tested, but it's built in.
Right. Yeah. Ridefar has their basically similar version with I call like the Aero TT hoop in it.
Mm-hmm.
This is different. I did see these at Sea Otter, whenever that was,
Right.
last year.
During the before time.
Right. Yeah. The pre-19. So yeah, it's basically it's everything. It's a riser bar. So I don't know what the exact rise is. It has the a really aggressive flare, and then I didn't know they were going to come out with two different versions because I talked to one of the designers when I went. I didn't know they were going to do a hoop and hoopless. I get why. I mean, it makes sense.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, they're even the craziest thing that I wish this article would show. It might show in the link. They're gonna also have like these like ergon almost style add-ons to both the drops and the tops. So essentially, it's gonna give you like a palm grip.
Oh,
yeah, there it is. Yeah.
Things.
So it gives you this like add-on palm grip that you can add for the top for your obviously for your palms.
Right.
And then on the bottom, that looks like an ergon grip.
It does.
It does.
And I tried it. I tried it on like their test bike. Not gonna lie, like it's not the prettiest thing, but it's comfy.
It
Like
looks super comfortable.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
mean,
that would be a nice palm rest.
Yeah,
whatever.
I mean, it's no hover bar. But yeah.
True.
So it's got basically everything because obviously, like Specialized has their hover bar. There's a lot of people that have all these things. This essentially combines, as far as I know, everything that's currently out into one.
Right.
You can go too far. Like it's possible. To go too everything. Just everything.
Is this too far? So would this be classified as an alt bar?
I would say so. It's definitely an alternative to something.
Like when you because I do the live stream on my phone. When you pulled this up and all I seen was a white screen with like black squiggles, I was like, oh, it looks like when I have to sign my name on one of those like online things, and I was like, oh, it's handlebars. Oh.
So you're trying to sign your name with your mouse? Yeah.
yeah. And it's like, oh goddamn, like
it's a bicycle pubes drawing. Whatever.
There we go.
Yeah. And then like literally the description is, we didn't know what you wanted, so we gave you everything. Everything.
Yeah, I mean, I'll honestly, I'll probably hit them up to try it out. I have a good relationship with them, but yeah, it's definitely the crazy thing is what it can do, because unlike the bolt-on one that I have from Ridefar, which is kind of narrow, it blocks everything. So I have to like rearrange the whole cockpit to put it on or take everything off. But I mean, I've seen a ton of the Ridefar bar with the hoops on. Like a lot of people love them. When I did the LA tourist race, I saw a couple of guys with them. But I mean, it is kind of nice.
Yeah, looks it's good to have options.
Okay, so question since you did Dirty Kansas, could you see this for like the long flat stretches or like something more mild, obviously gravel wise?
Yeah, I mean, there weren't a lot of turns, and they were very square turns, so there were definitely long straight stretches, and I think this is where you could take advantage of it, or even on something like when people race the divide, there's really long straight stretches in like Wyoming where it's just kind of flat and windy and you want to hide from the wind. So I could see this being used for those applications as well. I've never used a TT anything, probably not surprised. Have you, Eric? Have you grown?
Yeah, numerous, like hundreds of times.
On the BMX or
I've done it on every bike except a BMX. I've put them on a mountain bike. I've done a couple provincial time trial races.
Okay.
I've done a couple duathlons. I've never done a triathlon. Bad swimmer. Bad swimmer. But and I've also done like the longest rides I've done. I've also had what I like to call the sofa on there. So like a really nice, comfy, instead of such a narrow, I can't really get my arms that close together right now, but like a really wide, like elbow pad and aero bar set up on a bike that fits you good. You can cut through the wind and try not to go time trial pace, and you can do that forever. Like you're
Right.
so comfy. Like there's nothing on your wrists. Your biceps and like your triceps are such strong muscles. And if you've got a decent core, like, you know, I probably spent out of the, you know, what would 220 kilometers be in miles? You know,
almost 100 miles.
60, 160 miles. Yeah.
150,
Like I probably, I would say that I spent like 80% of my ride on a time trial setup, but like a true one. This would be very uncomfortable. I couldn't see myself being okay with like just having the bony part of your forearm on a non-padded spot like that. But I could be proven wrong. I don't know. I'd like to see a bar like this come out with a nice like flat spot, like what all these like carbon aero bars have.
Well, that's why they came out with these things, man.
Yeah, but those are stupid.
Okay. Hang on. I'll look up. Hang on. I'm going to show Eric this. I'll pull up my screen share if I can do that. Let's see. Right.
Wow, this is getting so meta. It's a screen share within the screen share within the screen share. It's like Inception.
I'm incepting something. Yeah.
I'm like scared I'm just going to get booted off for some reason. They're like, weakest link, you.
Yeah. Let's see here if they have it.
You're a brave man, Michael. I've not played with the screen share on StreamYard just because it.
Oh yeah. Well, that's what I did last time. Yeah, it's super easy. Let me just see if the product is even live. Here we go. Okay, so this is for Eric. Let's do this, and we're going to this tab. Boom. Okay, so this is the Ride Far bar that I had. The carbon bolt-on. They made a extension piece to essentially hold, your traditional elbow pads.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that's what you should have in my
right. Yeah. So, this I think is very interesting. It came out after. I still have the Aero bar. They were out of stock when I got my review unit, but I'm going to hit them up again to see if I can try it, because that's the thing with me. It was so short. I don't know if you can see my mouse, but it was so short here to here, and my palms wanted to be here, but it's ergonomically designed for here. And so I think with this, to rest on something, this wouldn't be bad, but this also seems very close. So I'm very interested in trying it.
Yeah, you'd need to like that's going to be a pretty specific bike and application. Like you're not just going to throw that on something and be like, one and done. Like
yeah.
You know,
it looks like you'd hit your knees if you're like standing and climbing or something.
Some of these will flop up.
Okay.
Yeah, they will. Yeah, you can do the spread.
Old school, like old school TT stuff would do that before they really got very, very specific on what a TT bike is. Like it's not just a pair of bull horns bolted on to a handlebar.
Cool. Wow, I feel like we got so fancy just then, doing like two screen shares at the same time.
Man, look at the tech. I mean, the other said
production
channel
value, man, production value.
Yeah, production value. I mean, the other said channel, who shall not be named, can't even do this or get people in focus. Let alone
they can't do one screen share, let alone two. Let's put that. Okay, next thing is this bike by assuming Italian brand Basso. Semi-suspension, aluminum and carbon all road. And a big thing here is this guy. It's got a little pivot in the rear. Only 8 millimeters of suspension though. So I feel like you could definitely get that easily in a saddle or in a seat post.
Seat post, yeah. Mm-hmm. The new Terra Revol seat post is supposed to have 18 mil or something like that. Yeah.
I mean, it's not I like the kind of mint green. I feel like the fork seems really disproportioned. Like I don't know. It just comes to a weird taper.
It does look like a hybrid fork.
Yeah.
like a suspension hybrid fork that's
they
squished
pulled
down.
it off of another bike and slapped it on the screen.
It is bizarre. Cannondale pulled off the slim fork look way better than Beso.
Who wore it best?
Who wore it best? Yeah.
Cannondale did.
Yeah.
So, Michael, you said that you worked at a shop that sold Basso. Were they good bikes? Or
I mean, we just had a few of their like high end. The big bikes I think they're known for is going to be their road. They had some really slick looking road bikes that had this really cool, like, if you were like if you were beyond the slam dat, level, the cool thing with the Besos or Bossos or whatever was the stem would actually, like the old some of the old track bikes, it would actually integrate really early on to where if you took all the spacers out, it would actually integrate and be seamless with the top tube.
Huh.
And so like
That's
it would actually
sick.
like kind of, it would not, that's what I'm saying. See, that's what I'm saying. Like you would get the, like, it was either like the everyman spacer kit, which was like, it would be above the frame set, or you could get like the slammed cut version. And it would actually, like, you could slot it down into the head tube essentially.
Wow.
Very clean.
But it wouldn't go all the way down though, right? Like this, like they had a thin stem that had like 10 or 12, maybe more.
It would be,
probably 20 mils of stack height, and it would still be like 10 mils above the top tube of the frame.
The ones that we had, I don't know if they were special edition, but literally if they were slammed, it was in line with the top tube.
God, that's so
It was
cool.
it was an integrated stem, all the integrated stems now can be very thin because they're all one piece carbon into a bar.
Yes.
So it was pre that. So it was still a round bar, but the stem was very similar and very slender.
Mm-hmm.
So they could, like I said, if you took the spacer out, yes, there'd be like a thin shim. So you're not rubbing the carbon onto whatever the frame material is, aluminum or carbon, but it would be basically so low that it would be like, basically flush with the frame. It looked rad, but yeah, it was just like, who can fit that? Like, so we sold them for a little while. Yeah, exactly. So that was cool. Eric, when, you can go check them out online. I'm pretty sure they still do it on their new stuff, but that was like the cool thing back. And I was like, man, that was when I was super into road. And I was like, oh man, that's got to be even more aero than the Venge, because I think it was, I was like, that was the big thing back in the day when this was out. So
there's a guy I follow on Instagram. I think his name's Mason Hender or something. It seems he either only likes Besos or has some sort of brand affiliation with them, and he had he seems to get a new one every 2 years or something, and his is always slammed as far down as possible.
Yeah, and this is one of those brands again that like, it's just kind of funny how like it's going to tumble into obviously our last topic with Campy, but this is like one of those things I'm like, I would have never expected this, and if I did, this is kind of not what I would expect either.
Yeah, I thought they would do it right.
Yeah, well, like I would think they'd go the Cervelo route, like the Aspero or whatever it's called. Like I thought they would go that direction, like super racy, essentially road bike with like slightly longer, like fork to crown and like chain stays, just barely to rub a 35. Because if you ride this, like you should be fine on that size tire. Like that's the kind of hard edge like version of this I'd expect. This is with the dropper and the pseudo 8 mils or whatever and the 45s. I don't know. It's just weird.
And the fork they stole off another bike. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. One of Eric's Norcos.
maybe 10 out of 10 will not buy.
So David here says it might be a reference to Ivan Basso, Lance era cyclist.
Probably is, to be honest.
And then maybe they did some trademarking or of the name. And speaking of he wasn't Lance era prior to Lance. Our only U.S. Winner of the Tour de France is back and bringing us this.
Yep. Which I would so ride that.
This is actually pretty baller. I dig. I love this color, and I would totally ride this if I had stupid amounts of money.
The Pepto-Bismol collaboration with Le Mond. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I've got it's like similar to the color of the Crest Bora, but carbon integrated fenders. We were talking before, and I think you got it right. It's very reminiscent of the vanilla Speedbog.
Right,
Their commuter bike. They're very expensive commuter bike.
Is this a photo of a real bicycle, or is it like a computer render of a bicycle?
Enhance.
It might
be a computer render.
Yeah, now that you bring it up,
It's
not gonna lie. When I saw the thumbnail, I thought these were kids' bikes at first, and then I read the title of it. Like when I saw it on Bike Rumor, I was like, like kids' bikes, and I was like, that's cool. And then I was like, oh, these are okay. So yeah, I think they may be computer generated.
Yeah. They might be testing the market still, just like laying it out there and seeing what the reaction.
They wanted to see what the ACN audience, really thought about these bikes.
They're like, we're thinking about making this.
What do you guys think?
Look nothing like this because this is a computer render.
You know what they gotta do is they just gotta put some titanium bits and then put it on Kickstarter.
Hey, Mond put this on Kickstarter.
40 grand and you're laughing.
Right.
Yeah. I honestly I would completely the pink bike on the top. I would that right there.
Yeah.
Done.
It looks cool.
That looks a little less computer rendery. But you know what bothers me is even in making that joke, if someone whether or not this is a highly technological bike or not, if they did throw a huge price tag at it and called it fairly highly technological, Le Mans has a good enough name that they would probably sell.
Yeah.
It just makes my mind puke that.
Okay, these are computer renders. These are 100% computer renders.
Yeah,
but hey, Eric, look, slam stem.
There you go.
Just saying.
It's kind of a tall slam.
But the power look arrow that is. look at the air, like the fairing. Like it's just like that's.
Well, I'll tell you what's arrow. The fact that the frame and the fork are integrated completely together in that photo on the right.
Well, I mean,
no steering,
yeah. You just lean it. You just lean it. Yeah.
That's I'm assuming that's a power button.
Yeah. So you've never seen those, Russ?
No.
So that's essentially to just change your mode.
Oh, okay.
So they'll give you usually 3 colors, and then it'll blink red when you're down to 20%. It's a super minimalistic mode dial. Right. Specialized does it on their Levos or Levos, however they say it, and then there's a couple of brands who do it if they don't have the controller with a thumb button. So that's the sleeker. Hey, you're probably just going to press it once and leave it. You're not going to be constantly changing it because it's not a mountain bike.
Right.
And even a lot of roads, same thing. You're going to put it on eco, whatever. So if you're not wanting to add your own unique controller, that's the way you do it.
Right. I was hoping it would be something like a Touch ID, and that's how you turn on.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Let's see. Max speed 26 kilometers per hour. What is that? It's 12, 15 miles an hour.
Yeah, something like that. It's probably because it's the European bikes can't have the same top speed as US bikes.
Okay.
Because US you can top out at 25. I forgot what class they rate that at, but
miles?
it's a lot slower. Miles, yeah, miles per hour. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, you can rip.
America.
America. The Europeans, they get limited really low compared to us.
They get their rights impinged because
that's it. That's because the healthcare is so cheap. So
right.
We're trying to make our money. We give you 25 miles an hour.
That's true. 46 mile per hour range with integrated battery, integrated remote, on/off control light, blah blah blah. I'm trying to find a price tag here. And let's see.
40 grand.
40 grand.
It's probably
4,500.
You know what? It's I thought it would be worse.
Yeah, I mean in the scheme of how expensive e-bikes can get.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I mean this is a carbon fiber one too.
Right. That's what I mean. It's not that bad for what it should be weight and spec wise.
Yeah.
Because you're paying almost $2 for something with that kind of range.
And look, guys, it comes with a spur cycle bell.
Ooh, okay. Well, that's $80 right there. I mean, come on.
So
it's probably fake.
Yeah, you're right. I don't even see it. Where's it rendered? No.
It's not there. It
No,
doesn't
not there.
actually come with one.
So yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, if it came out, if it exists in real reality, it'd be pretty cool to throw a leg over one. I'd love to see the pink and carbon fiber step through. That'd be good stuff.
Is this the world's first carbon step through? Because I
think that's what they're saying. I think it is.
I mean, hey, you find your niche, you stick with it, I guess. Like that's
You gotta break records somehow.
Yeah, like there are carbon fiber, hybrids, but like a carbon fiber step through, that might be the first.
Yep. Yeah. Bold move,
Yep.
Greg LeMond. Kudos.
Don't hate it. We'd all try one. I mean, at least and Russ apparently.
Yeah.
Give Eric the step. If LeMond is watching, give Eric the step through. Thank you very much. Okay. All right. We can move on. Yeah.
All right. So let's see. We've got 134 people in the room. If you guys like this video so far, enjoying the wacky conversation, give the video a thumbs up. It helps with all the things. And let us know where you're watching from.
Because you missed us. Yeah.
Yeah. I see Bill the Cat is in the house.
Always pushing those likes. Always appreciate it.
Alex from Hollywood. Steve Fuller from Iowa's. Sean Gould, who's going to 3D print some sweet ACN triangular things for that. Yeah,
Sean, I swear, we got to get you specs for that red triangle. I swear to God, if we get that, I'm going to put it on Kickstarter. I'll be able to actually pay rent this month. It'll be great. Yeah, it'll be good.
Yeah, what would the goal be for the little triangular?
$100,000.
Yeah.
Easy.
Yeah.
No, you need to blow it. You need to blow it out of the water, so it's only got to be like 10 grand.
Right.
And then when we make like a million,
because
like
we had
1.2 million.
Okay,
yeah, it needs to be a big deal.
and then next year when COVID's over and they bring Shark Tank back, we'll all go on there together. It'll be good.
There you go.
Yeah.
They'll be like, what was the secret to your success? Like YouTube live stream.
Yeah.
Titanium.
Yeah. Titanium. One word. Titanium.
Right.
They're like the best.
Yeah.
So time for the main event, and it is let's go with this one. This one was, I feel like, a better article. Campagnolo has finally joined the 20th century, and they're doing the grab 13 speed gravel group set, supposedly one of the lightest on the market. And I was thinking we should watch their marketing video and see what it's like. You guys say? Okay.
Yeah, I'd like to see a grandpa's version of a gravel group set.
Okay. Let me know, is there audio coming through this?
No, not currently.
Okay. There might not be audio on this. Apologies. We'll just judge the visuals. Okay, nice drone shot.
Okay. All right.
Very YouTube aesthetic. I feel like.
Yeah.
Oh, bam!
Ooh, look at that transition.
YouTube transition. Man, Campy.
Look at Campy. Okay.
Campy, finger on the pulse. They've been watching some that video.
What was he pulling? Was that a bottle that he was pulling from his face? Can we enhance? Can we rewind back? Do we have the technology? I'd like to see that again.
Oh, what
is it? Is it a bottle?
It's just like grab some random thing and cover the lens, whatever it is.
But like,
yeah, that was a bottle.
Yeah, but he also threw it on the ground because he instantly has his hand back on the shifter.
Well, yeah, anyway, because he rides Campy, he doesn't need to worry.
He doesn't need it. I'll just buy another one.
Snap! What the heck?
Somebody's grandson made this for Campy.
I know.
Oh my god! Oh, that was great.
They're like, hey, you know the internet? Can you make us a brand?
Can you make it? Yeah,
Campy just got Wi-Fi and then just got YouTube. That's what happened. That's exactly what happened with this.
This is oddly entertaining as three YouTubers watching this.
I'm glad I didn't watch this prior. Like, this is great.
Okay, slow-mo drone.
Okay.
Blah blah blah.
Okay. Yep. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Don't want to see the group at all. Want to see the scenery. Yeah, no big deal.
A lot of this is shot.
This looks like a video game. Like,
yeah,
it looks like a video game.
No, it's actually like it's super well shot. Like,
so
high production value.
I'd say this is new. Typically, you wouldn't see this in a kind of high-end component groups showing people walking with a bike when they could be riding.
Yeah. Oh, true.
Right.
Yeah.
Again,
So
can't-
like, well, I
can't
don't want to
keep-
get it. So like, I don't want to get it dirty because it was so damn expensive.
Yeah. Todd just said it. He's like, because the $800 cassette to replace. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's right. Like, I don't want to get the dust on it.
You don't want to use it all up on one hill.
Yeah.
No, exactly. Yeah.
All right. So a little hike a bike. That's not that steep. Come on.
Okay. No, I know, right? And he's also probably like a $12,000 bicycle. Like it should be lightweight. He should be able to go.
He may
issue
have also broke his chain because it's so narrow.
The 13. Okay. There it is. We are never getting this group set, guys. I'm just letting you know. Like,
I think it's because it doesn't have low enough gears. Honestly, if you look at it,
It's a 32.
we're gonna get into that later, but yeah, no, I agree. That's a very interesting. Again,
Come on, let's go.
surprising amount of not riding for such a high-end, historic cycling brand.
again, I think Mr. Campy's grandson, is the marketing manager and has watched YouTube his whole life, and then they just got Wi-Fi in the shed when they make this. That's what I think. But I mean, I could be wrong.
They're like, make something and put it on the internet.
Yeah. Yeah.
We hear it's catching on. Oh,
the eye close. That I haven't seen since 1995, but okay.
Close their eyes and started dreaming, and this is what they came up with during their dream. Very expensive cassette.
That's why they were walking. They weren't actually on the group set yet. This is the group set that they're imagining that they'd be riding and not having to hike a bike on.
Right.
And then there's gotta be some hero shots.
This is this crank reminds me of Aliens. Like it feels like straight out of a Ridley Scott movie.
Okay, no, but that's what I was talking about. The chain being right there next to the crank. Oh God, that makes me so nervous. It's gonna bite into it. But
yeah, well, let's back that up. I want to see that.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, look how close that is. Wait for the reveal shot with the chain on there. Wait for it. Next one, right there. Ooh, man, that is right on there.
Yeah,
I bet there's a machined or like a gap or something. They started doing that with mountain bike chain rings. Like you couldn't go any lower than 32 or 30 without like spacers and stuff to get the chainring away from the spider. And then you started seeing spiderless, like direct mount chainrings come out so that you could go smaller. Would this be this is Campy's like first narrow wide then, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's so funny. I wish the words could have been there because for a fact that they're like our newly designed like narrow wide technology,
like
so
12-year-old
drop your chain. And it's like, well, we've been doing this for like forever,
but not
just
13.
so you know.
Yeah, the newly,
exactly. Our newly designed. You mean you just finally decided to tell whoever is in your machine shop to finally make one?
So let's get into it a little bit.
I think there's a little bit more left on the video.
There's not a whole lot more. It's just
okay. I didn't know if I was going to say anything. Just
Ekar. Is it
Ekar?
Ekar?
I think it's Ekar. I think it's how they pronounce it when I saw it last. Could be wrong.
Yeah, so that's their video. I'm so glad we watched that together.
That was good. That was great. Hike your bike on the groups that you just made. They're supposed to make it easy to go up those things, but it's fine.
Well, let's talk about the groups. So one thing, supposedly the lightest gravel went by 13 speeds. There's only like Rotor is the only one that has 13, right?
Correct.
So it's kind of in terms of like Shimano and SRAM. Decently light at I think 2,385 grams for the 9 to 36. That's not the 9 to 44 or 42 cassette. And Campy usually known for being expensive, but this is, it's not cheap, but it's way cheaper than Axis.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, this is.
Wow.
Yeah, so now just question. So that includes crankset, cassette, and like everything we saw.
Right.
But and I could be wrong, their free hub body is backwards compatible with all previous Campy wheels.
Mm-hmm.
But is that a free hub standard that's going to be offered on other wheels? Because that's a whole, like, yes, the group set is this much, but if you have to buy a Campy wheel set with this, it's going to be,
My guess is that they probably have worked with brands like DT Swiss and whoever that does OE
something
wheels.
Fulcrum and all those companies.
Yeah, so that's the only thing I would say with the group set is you're going to have to wait for a wheel set if you don't already have a Campy wheel set. That's going to have the hub compatibility because they did make a new hub standard for this.
Yeah.
Because their 9-tooth cassette, all the cassettes have a 9-tooth smallest cog. So they had to create a new hub standard. But they said all existing Campy wheels currently will be backwards compatible to where you can directly swap this if you want to reuse. Which would be really weird because all their stuff's been road. Right. So I'm assuming all their wheels are pretty narrow. But yeah.
Do they make a brake? Is there a brake that goes with this?
Yeah, flat mount hydraulic. Okay,
it's the same brakes they've been using on their road hydraulic brakes.
Yeah. The cassettes, the range they say it's wide. It's wide-ish. I don't think it's not groundbreakingly wide.
It's better than GRX, and it's technically better than obviously the SRAM Force wide. It's just not as wide as obviously the mullet.
Right.
You go with the XO, derailleur.
Yeah.
And the weird thing, I don't know why they went from the 9 to the 10 when they went to the 44. That was strange to me.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they wanted to keep the jumps relatively narrow-ish or consistent. I've not ridden a cassette with a 9-tooth. I think you have. Mm-hmm. Is there much friction losses? I know that's kind of a debate people are having.
The E13 cassettes I've ridden extensively in the 946. And I had that initially, and then when I did my new build and I did the same Garborough cage that you did, obviously that pushes that jockey wheel away to make that transition smoother. That definitely does help. It is less noisy in the 9 than my standard cage with the 9-46, but it honestly really ramps up your top end. So I did a video on this as well of if you get something with a 9 compared to 11, that is essentially like going 6 teeth up in your front ring.
Yeah.
So what I did was if I liked my top end of that gear ratio, like for my road bike, I have a 40, or for my road mode, of a 40 in the front with a 9-42 in the rear. Well, that effectively gives me what would be effectively like a 46-11.
Right.
And I rarely am going to spin out or push a 50-11 like a true road bike double. So for me, that's fine. But then I still get that 40-42 climbing gear, which is essentially like running a 34 with a 36 in the back, which is kind of the road climbing standard at this point.
Yeah.
So the thought process with the 13 speed, from what Rotor has said when they came out with it, is effectively with a 2x11 system, you only have 14 truly unique gear ratios.
Mm-hmm.
So having 13 is essentially almost the same.
Right.
It's as close as they can get. So, that was cool. They went with the thought process for that. Because again, I've ridden my Cobalt as a road bike, and I did a Century ride on it. I've done a bunch of road style rides, and having just the 11 was fine. I would love to have a 12 because there is 1 or 2 ratios that I wish, there was an extra cog in there for certain, cadence ranges that I like to stay in.
Yeah.
But, realistically, I think a 13 speed, granted minus the chain being super thin, would make a lot of sense for this.
Yeah. So let's take a look here. They designed a new lever for it. Have you guys ridden with a Campy at all?
Mm-hmm.
Only in the parking lot.
Yeah, only in the parking lot.
On a customer's bike, that was about it.
Looks like they added instead of just like the simple lever, they made a little C shape. So when you're in the drops, you can
Oh yeah, you can actually reach out.
yeah,
and grab
instead
it.
of like doing thumb yoga to get up and over. Interestingly, you can shift 3 gears down, but to go up, it's still like a one-click affair. So there's that. I don't know.
Gravel sprinting, man. It's all about
Gravel sprinting.
You got to gravel sprint.
You can downshift a Campy shifter like 2 or 3 like gears in the sprint. That's the big thing with them. Yeah.
So the Crankset, to me, not the most aesthetically pleasing. It looks kind of
but that's
it's very brutalist.
It's like our Ultegra looks like that though. Like if you put a 1x chainring on like an Ultegra crankset.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I would agree with that. I like this. That's funny.
Do you?
I'm usually the one who's like, look at this.
Score taper.
I like this
Shimano
a lot.
600. Yeah, come on.
This just feels like a giant rectangle, and they're like, "All right, I'm done."
That might be why I like it so much, because it's just like
shape.
This is just
I like it.
good enough.
I'm a little bummed that it's a new BCD standard supposedly.
What's
so
Campy? What else would it?
I know.
What else do you expect?
I don't know. I'm curious if you can use this group set with a different crankset and just get equivalent chain line, just so you're not.
No.
Although I don't know if they had a new chain, so maybe you're stuck with the chain ring, so you do have to use it. So
yeah, if it's a 13-speed chain, I'm assuming it's going to be narrower enough to need probably a specific. The only thing that would happen.
I wouldn't say that the inside of the plates have gotten any narrower. There's no way it went below a 3/32 chain. If it did, they would have mentioned it in the that'd be a big deal. That'd be a big deal.
Yeah.
To go from something we've been using for so long, and for them to change it, that would have been for an article I didn't read, something I would have come up.
No, but you know what? The only other people, obviously, that we all know, like Wolftooth would totally probably make something that would be a Campy compatible, whatever BCD that you want. I'm assuming, because if all the manufacturers that they say that are on board, like 3T and all that, like, yeah, they're going to have their cranksets on there. But if Campy really wants to move units, like, if it was me, like, having to go a Campy specific chain is one thing, but also having to do whatever crankset and limitations to it, because if you look at that crank, the smallest chainring they spec on there is a 38, which for most people is maybe okay, but I'm doing a like an extended gravel trip that's going to be loaded, not full bike packing, but I have a 32 on the front, because I'm going to have a bunch of extra camera equipment and weight and water and all this stuff. I would want something lower than that. And so you're going to have to go aftermarket or direct mount or whatever. So I'm assuming Wolftooth or somebody is going to do, something that is compatible, at least.
Mm-hmm. I feel like do you feel like they're just playing catch up at this point, or they've added something new aside from the extra gear?
I think the 9 is, I don't know why my camera's out of focus, but anyways, I think the 9 is progressive, because there's only, as far as I know, Zito and E13 doing that. I did, again, a whole video on how much better for me that can make my gear ratio, because, for instance, I'm running a 32, but effectively that is like a 38-11, as far as the front ring. So most gravel bikes are going to come with a 40-11. So I'm only losing slight bit of top speed, but I gain so much in the climbing gear doing that. I don't understand why they don't do the 9 with the 44. Again, to have that extreme end of range, because one tooth in the rear is like basically 3-ish teeth in the front.
Right.
So I think that is somewhat progressive. But there are still things that are like, I think the crankset BCD is a little bit, they're trying to reuse what they got. Lever is redesigning that. Does make sense, because their levers, that's a perfect picture. Their levers don't do well in the drops like that, for a gravel, especially for a flared bar or anything. You really need those thumb pieces like stuck out. So they did do some stuff.
Yeah.
They didn't do everything, you know?
Yeah, I don't know. It's I want to be excited about it, but I feel like I don't know. I'm probably just not the user that this is designed for, to be honest. Like, you know, like I carry a bunch of stuff all the time, and this doesn't give me enough range.
Right.
And the fact that, you know, you can't even hack it to get like a lower end if you're locked into that chain ring is a bummer. But I'm sure it's, you know, people will buy it. They'll be spec'd on some bikes, maybe.
Yeah, they said Specialized, 3T, and I don't remember who else. I'm assuming like Panarello or something, but I think they might have mentioned it in that article. But yeah, I know they said Specialized, which was shocking for me for the new Diverge, because unless they're going, like, this is going to be, I'd have to I don't know what the comparison price would be for this versus GRX.
Right.
I'd assume this be more.
So it's like the super baller Diverge.
Yeah,
but they would do.
But below the
two
build
versions like they've always done.
Yeah.
Like there's always been like in Specialized lineup anyway. If you were like a, you know, say for example the Tarmac, you could always get like an S-Works Tarmac Red or an S-Works Tarmac Dura-Ace, and they'd just be different colors.
Right. Yeah.
So there would just be like a Diverge for like the guys who like the Italian stuff, and it makes sense for Specialized because they're pretty Italian influenced. You know, back in the early '80s company. Mm-hmm. You know, that was what Mike Sinnard loved, was, you know, Italian bikes. So I think he probably as a company owner just kind of has a soft spot. So he's like, you know, here's this, you know, company that struggles so hard to ever get into the world of what's cool in cycling, besides racing. You know, let's throw them a bone.
I could see this between the GRX and the like Force Mullet build, because gear range wise, this is the middle. Because the GRX, I believe, is caps out at a 42. This at a 44, and then the Mullet at a 50. Range wise, this is kind of be the middle. And I'm assuming this is still obviously going to be lighter than the Shimano stuff. But the Mullet, I'm assuming the SRAM wireless is going to be lighter than this.
Yeah.
You know.
But the guys who are going to buy Campy, they're going to
buy Campy.
They don't care about the numbers.
Yeah.
Like they don't care.
Yeah.
Like when you have that discussion with them, my friend Ian really loves Campy, and like he'll like anytime we talk about stuff like this where we're talking about like hacking something or like, you know, throwing a bigger cassette on or something, and he'll just look at me and be like, well, just stop being so fat, or like just like ride faster, or like just something like very deep cutting and mean and very, you know, Campy like of him. And I'm just like, oh.
Damn it.
Like there's no argument here. I'm gonna use Campy. I don't care what the numbers are.
Oh yeah.
And that's
I made the joke last night when me and my buddy were doing like my shakedown ride of the Redwood. I'm like, man, I can really feel this, like, you know, the bike's 10 pounds heavier at least than the Cobalt I've been riding. And we were doing some like steep, punchy climb. I was like, man, I can feel the weight. I was like, Lord knows I could lose 10 pounds. And you know, and I was like, but I feel it though. Like either way, it's like me having like 20 pounds on me, because, you know, like, like that's what it feels like. But yeah, no, I totally get that.
Well, cool. Well, you guys in the YouTube channel, let us know what you guys think about this new Campy group set. Is it too little, too late? Have they added something new? Are you going to run out to your local bike shop and drop the ducats?
Every bike mechanic hate you because you're ordering the Campy parts and they have to work on it. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I mean, I'm glad that they're trying to be relevant and with the times. You know, I just feel like, you know, when people say, oh, we have this wide range, it's really not that wide. They've taken the same size pizza and cut it into smaller pieces, and we're not getting bigger pizza. We're just getting more pieces of the same piece of pizza.
So, I just saw a comment about the cassette construction before we go into like questions at the end of this. So Kim, the cassette construction, from what I've read, is it's going to be aluminum for the upper half for the top like climbing gears, and they're going to do a steel for the lower section for obviously your faster gears that probably are going to demand more, torque or wattage.
The watts.
The watts.
Yeah. Let's see. What are people saying? Too late for me. Just got 12-speed SLX stuff today. It's Campy. It's for Campy customers. There's definitely brand loyalty with Campy.
Sure.
Like, all the dentists. So
that's what they should have cut to. With the swipe, it should have been like someone getting their teeth cleaned. Yeah,
right. I'm surprised at the end of the video they didn't just like hop in the Porsche. Yeah, probably
or a Ferrari or a Lamborghini.
The Lamborghini Urus, the Urus with a bike rack. That would have been good. Yeah. Oh my god, that'd been great.
Yeah. How much will it cost if an electronic version
double. Minimum double? Also, Campy's EPS is garbage. It's the dumbest. I don't. Oh God, no, don't.
Is it bad? Is it actually not good?
It's like it depends on what version, but there's literally like this thing that you have to like strap on to the bike when you're like not. It could be an older version, but it was a customer bike we did have once where like we had to strap something on to like turn the battery off.
What?
So it didn't like try to auto sense that the bike was moving because it would just kill the battery. Because customer kept coming in, he's like, "Oh yeah, it's always dead." And then like it was some dumb like I don't know, like with access, like it does sense if your bike is moving to turn like the stuff on, but you can obviously pull the batteries out in there's 2 seconds. But this thing you literally had to strap on like something to the bike. I don't know. It was weird. I don't know. Their original series was like it came out years after Di2 had the integrated battery, and there still had like an external battery. Like it's very behind. It's better now, but like it's still very behind as far as like everything else.
Yeah. Happy to see Campy back on some shop racks. True.
Sure.
I mean, it's it's definitely very historic heritage brand. I'd feel sad if they went under, even though just not my kind of stuff. Yeah. Speaking of wide range, like I heard the interesting hack recently. If there's a niche of you that want GRX but want disc brakes, that the Tiagra 4700 series levers should work.
Wait, what do you mean GRX? But you want disc brakes? The GRX
cable brakes, not hydraulic.
Oh, okay.
Because the 4700 levers have 11 are geared the same as GRX. It's like pre-GRX, but without that hood shape and everything else in the hydraulics.
Wouldn't that be 105? Because isn't Tiagra a 10-speed?
It is, but it's geared. It's got 11 clicks in it, or something. It's something weird. Mm-hmm. But I might dig up some old levers and experiment with that. So let's see what else are not cheap enough.
Yeah, never is. Yeah.
Yeah. So both of you guys worked at a shop. Like, what was the last bike that you guys sold that had Campy OEM?
A rally.
Really?
What?
Yeah, it was a steel rally had Veloce on it. 10-speed Campy. That was like that was kind of the moment where Campy was trying to have some 105 level stuff spec'd on OEM bikes. What bike was that? It wasn't a super record, but
Super Leggera?
Yeah, no.
I mean the bike frame didn't Raleigh have like some like bougie carbon rim brake bike for a minute that was
Yes, but this was a steel bike. This was steel frame and fork.
that's what I mean. Yeah, but it's
Anyway, that was the last bike I built and sold with Campy on it. there'd be the odd time that bikes would come in with Campy cantilever brakes, and I'm like, where did you get these? And no one ever had an answer for me.
How about you, Mike? What was the last Campy bike that went through your shop?
Never had a Campy bike that rolled out stock ever.
Huh.
We had Campy bikes come in, and then our mechanics would get mad because, our managers would get mad because then they'd have to buy like Campy specific tools that they never needed ever to work on them. Yeah. And there was one shop though. It was actually a relative of mine. There's some old bike shop by him, and walked in and he's like, "You got to go check out his tool set." And I was like, "What do you mean?" He had like the vintage wooden box, like OG 19 whatever's Campy tool set, and it was immaculate. It was like all wooden, like mahogany, and you open it, it's all like velour, like inside with like all the tools, like, you know, everything spaced out perfectly and like had like embedded in it. And I was like, "How often do you use that?" And he's like, "I don't know. I use the bottom bracket tool like twice a year." You know, like that was, you know, but he probably spent like $5,000 on that tool set whenever he bought it. And also, you know, 50 years ago. And, but yeah, all the Campy stuff was always like that. You needed everything was specific. And granted, Park Tool does make stuff for that, but it was like, I have to order a Campy bottom bracket tool to work on this Campy bike because it's some weird year that I don't have, you know, or something like that. So yeah, it was like the service was $20, but it was a $60 tool you had to buy for it, you know? So, you know, it was rough when you can't pass that on to the customer, but it's also like, I guess we have to buy it at this point, or like you turn them away. I don't know. Like, you know, it's a decision you have to make. Yeah. But you also want the Campy customer because like, obviously they have money. Like, so I don't know. It was a blessing and a curse, I guess.
Yeah. Campy, not Italian for value.
Yeah.
All right. So I think I'm going to take us home here because we're at hour 8. There's still 130 of you in here. If you guys have enjoyed the conversation, give it a thumbs up. Thanks for spending the hour and some change with us talking bikes. And we should talk about next week. We've got a special guest that we tried to get, I think last episode, where we talked about being a bike YouTuber. But Zach Gallardo, who has an awesome channel on cycling and fixed gear stuff specifically, he is slated to be on the channel next Thursday, and I think we'll talk shop again. You guys watch his channel? I know Mike, you did a video with him.
Yeah, me and him have worked together before. He's a cool dude. He's been around. It was funny because even in my video, like we did this like shop talk, like NPR style video, and we just like questioned each other about stuff. And he was like, he basically, after my like ligament was torn, I couldn't ride fixed anymore. Like I passed the torch proverbially onto him. I didn't know I did that, but he told me that I did it. So I was like, okay, that makes sense, you know. Yeah. And so he's been running with it ever since.
Yeah, I'd love to know. I think one of the things I'm dying to ask is if he ever feels like confined in a box with the kind of cycling content. Like, does he ever want to venture into geared stuff, or is he honestly completely happy with fix?
I mean, the screwed up part is like, as far as like for all of us, like I've put out randomly like a really clickbaity video, but it was like a genuine question and people took it the wrong way, but that's how it is. Like, our fixed gear school in whatever year it was that I made that video, it did super, super well. No matter what you put out on fixed gear content, it does very, very well. Right. So like it's ridiculous. And I wish I could physically ride brakeless or fixed in general like I used to, because like all that's, I miss that, but I just can't. Like, it hurts too much now. But it's just like it's crazy how the community is still so strong, which is surprising to me of how it's kind of progressed at this point. You know?
Right. Cool. Well, with all that, thanks again everyone for watching, and we'll see you next week. And keep bikes weird. I think that's what we're still saying.
It's been